Hello, I'm Nathan Leahy, and welcome to Next Week in Gaming. So our first port of call this week is the Humble Indie Bundle 16, which ends on Tuesday the 8th of March. And this is actually pretty good as far as the indie bundles go. There's a couple of normal, usual 1, 2 and 3 tiers, but there's also a nice little 10% off coupon for the Humble Monthly, which they're really trying to push this at the moment. So yeah, let's just take a look at what they've got to offer over there. So on the first deal, we have Retro City Rampage Deluxe, Outlast, which is that game where you're basically roaming around, horror-style game with the mobile phone. Never Alone, which kind of surprised me. I don't really understand why this is on a Humble Bundle so soon, because as far as I could tell, it was a pretty decent game. It's quite cutesy, but it's already on a Humble Bundle, which is crazy. On the second tier, which is, just pay more than the average, you've got Try 3 Artifacts of Power, which for the most part was kind of cool, but, blatantly, the game is not finished. You've got Door Kickers, which is a really awesome strategy top-down game. A lot of people quite like this one. I was a big fan. I think I did a review of it way back, and of course, because it's the first week, there are more games to come. Third and final tier are some pretty decent heavyweights. You've got Else Heartbreak, which is a lovely little story orientated game about love and loss and everything like that, as well as the Epic Sunless Sea, and of course you get a couple of audio stuff with that. So all in all, it's actually a pretty decent bundle this time around, and well worth picking up for Sunless Sea, and if you're into the story stuff, Else Heartbreak, so definitely worth checking out. So our first release coming out on Tuesday the 1st of March is of course by Ubisoft, and it is Far Cry Primal. Ubisoft are the kings of climb the tower and press the button, but I haven't actually seen any gameplay footage of you climbing a giant tree and maybe throwing some vines down in order for you to scan around the area. But Ubisoft just love to climb towers all the damn time, and there's a lot of cool things about Far Cry, but equally there's a lot of awful things about Far Cry, which is a lot of repetition, a lot of map cleanup detail, and basically what we're hoping for is a mixture between Blood Dragon and Far Cry 3. Far Cry 3 in that, we're paying a full price for this game. It's not Blood Dragon in that it only costs $12 or something like that. This is a full price game, and it's using the same engine, some slightly different assets, and everything looks a bit cool and funky, and it's a unique setting by all accounts, so it's going to be interesting, but there are a lot of good and bad things about Blood Dragon and good and bad things about Far Cry 3, and I hope that they have, learnt their lesson on what players have said that they don't like, and they've just included some of the nice stuff. For the most part, I would like to see this game succeed, just because who develops games based in the Stone Age? I mean, it's a pretty cool concept, and props to the creative guy who came up with that idea. Also releasing on Tuesday the 1st of March by Deluxe Entertainment is Deponia Doomsday. This is the 4th in the series of the Deponia series, and it's a point-and-click adventure. Now, I have a love-hate relationship with point-and-clicks. Sometimes they're really awesome and the story's fantastic, and sometimes the gameplay can be pretty decent, but other times it can just be crippling. I think the point-and-click adventure is quite a niche market, but it's a large-ish niche market. So, there's always going to be people that jump in there. And I kind of have this soft hot spot for Deponia because the storyline is so good. It's hilarious. It's got some fantastic characters. And all in all, it is just a lovely tale. So if you're looking for quite a cool, awesome little storyline, and you can handle the point-and-click, which I need to figure out a way to do that, then by all means, check out Doomsday. We have another title releasing on Tuesday the 1st of March, except this one's going into early access. It's by Hydrant Games, and it's called Overpower. Now, this is a multiplayer online battle arena game that they've claimed is actually a class-based medieval brawler, blah, 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 blah. It's just a MOBA. It's a MOBA. It's a MOBA. Look at the gameplay videos. It's blatantly a MOBA. Now, this is jumping in early access. It's not that expensive. It's pretty reasonably priced. And they're basically advertising this game as, you don't need to grind. It's just, jump in and play some classes and have some fun. It's third person, so it's quite similar to Smite, very, very similar to Smite, except instead of, laning, you're in this large sort of dungeon area sort of thing. So it's like that. You should get a decent impression just by watching the gameplay. Except the fact is, you do unlock armor, you do unlock skills, and you do unlock extra classes, so there is a grind involved. I don't know how epic this grind is, but it seems slightly inaccurate to say that your game doesn't have a grind. And it's just an MMO style game with a couple of modes, a bunch of different characters, armor, abilities, loads of stuff for you to mix and match up. Basically, I'm on the fence about this game. It looks interesting. I think it's going to have a difficult time trying to penetrate the market. But maybe someone can check it out and fill me in on how that one goes. I'm thinking it's probably going to struggle, but hey, I could be surprised. So obviously you've seen that I haven't mentioned that we'll be reviewing Far Cry next week. And so instead of I opted to just toss away that mammoth hiding game and jump into Overfall, mainly because the game, all of the dialogue and everything has been written by Chris Avellone, and he's a fantastic writer. And to be honest, I'm in the mood for writing. I played super hot, mindless fun, excellent, but I need a solid story. After I played Firewatch, I've just become story orientated again, and it feels kind of cool. So this is an RPG game where it's all procedurally generated, and you start off with 2 heroes, and there's just a lot of stuff dealing with stats in dialogue and stuff like that. Nice neat little stories. You're looking for your old lost god, and you just visit these little islands, so there's some seafaring to be done. And overall it's quite a simplistic art style, but I'm getting good vibes from this game already. I have already got a code, so I have played around with a bit, and it is kind of cool, I've got to admit. But it is a roguelike, so you're going to be playing for quite a while, upgrading and improving your characters, but at the same time you'll be repetitively doing things, so the map will change, and because it's all procedure generated. So I'm actually kind of hoping, and I have high hopes for this one. So go ahead and wait for the review on next Thursday, and we'll see just how good it really is. So that's it from us in Next Power Up. Join us next week on Thursday for our weekly review of Overfall, and of course next week on Saturday for our next Week in Gaming episode. As usual, leave your comments in the next section below for what you guys have been playing. I finally got myself moved out into some decent lighting and a nice old plain backdrop for me to slather some posters on at some point. But for the most part, I just went to the tournament at the comic book store and just been playing super hot a lot. Also started playing Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance 2 with my brother, which I remember being a really, really awesome game when I was a kid, except it's not actually that great now that I think about it. But, we're still enjoying it, and it's nice to spend some brotherly love time together. So, yeah. Hope you guys have enjoyed today's episode, and we'll see you guys next week.